Welcome back, everybody. Looking forward to today's Mindset and Motivation Monday. We're going to be talking about how to build a life that you don't want to escape from. This is one of my favorite topics because I can speak from experience. I know that when I was in my late teens and really through my, I would say, mid-20s, I wouldn't say that I was living a life that I loved, that I was at peace with, that I enjoyed in really any way, shape, or form, except for the great friendships that I had and have, and also my wife as well, when we were dating at the time. So although that was great, it was a mess in many other areas of my life. And what I was always looking forward to was the weekend. And the weekend was there to escape from the Monday through Friday. And I don't want that for you. If you are living for the weekend, there is a serious problem with your Monday through Friday. And here's the bigger issue. In those 2 days will never be enough to recover from 5 days of stress and angst and constant worry. But at the same time, what happens on the weekend, people often look to completely forget, maybe drink alcohol and unwind too much, sleep in, and destroy their patterns, maybe healthy patterns that they try to create during the week. And then you need to recover the whole 5 days from your weekend. It becomes this vicious cycle. So what I want to do today is break down how we can make the shift, how we can escape from the dread that we may live in on a Monday through Friday and actually build a sustainable life, not overnight, but one that you truly enjoy, right? I always talk about being at peace. Peace means this, that you're content, that you're relaxed the majority of the time because you know life is good. It's not perfect, but life is good. So let's get into it right now. My goal for you by the end of this show is not to just want to survive the week and escape on the weekends, but actually move away from the trap that most people fall into, which is overwork, oftentimes Monday through Friday, and under recovery, and then using the weekends to just completely blow it all off and unwind. Okay, so what we're going to do now is move into a whole new mindset that's going to allow us to feel that shift. We want to start with this. What would make my weekday or weekdays actually feel better where I wouldn't need to escape on the weekends or want to escape my life in general, right? Because no matter what, you always have to come back to that life. I share this with my daughters all the time, is that there is no escape, whether people are trying to move away, oftentimes take a longer vacation, whatever it might be, is because you bring yourself and your troubles wherever you go. So what we want to do is look at 4 areas to fix right off the bat. The first is your energy. Because sometimes, and I found this for sure in my life, one of the reasons why I wasn't the happiest person, to put it mildly, from 17 years old to 27 years old, is that I had no energy. I had Addison's disease. I had autoimmune issues. I had blood sugar issues. I had all sorts of inflammatory issues, allergies, acid reflux, you name it, I had it. So I was miserable, which made everything way more difficult. So if you don't have your health or your energy, it's just like you're always tired. And if you're always tired, even small problems seem insurmountable. So what we need to do is start to regain our energy. I'm going to share with you some tips on how to do that in just a moment. The second one is this, is your schedule. I am absolutely guilty of this, absolutely guilty of it. If your schedule is too packed, that means you're under constant stress. Literally, like you can use an HRV, like a polar heart strap monitor, to measure your HRV and just see yourself going from meeting to meeting or task to task. And if it's like that all day, think of the stress and the energy drain that is on your body. So if there's no white space on your calendar, there is no time to recover, and we need to recover. So for me, it's typically, in an ideal world, I have my morning walk. I have my morning routine, my morning walk. I'm going to get into this more later. Then at lunch, I've got a little quiet time in there. So a little lunchtime, reading, relaxation, maybe a small walk then, although I do less of that than I used to. And then end of the day before it's family time, that's my exercise. That's my workout. We need to build this and structure it into our day somehow, some way. All right. The third one is this. it's work alignment. Not everybody's going to have a job that they absolutely love. Like I love my work. I really do. I love my work. But there are parts of my work that are not all rainbows, sunshine, and unicorns. I mean, that's the truth is like, I've got meetings like anybody else. I have deadlines and hardships and obstacles that we need to overcome. That's the truth. I mean, we literally help hundreds of thousands of people each year. There's always something that's going to be a little off, right? You need to fix all those things. So here's the thing. Work becomes an issue if it's constant dread, right? There's no perfect job. It would be nice, but like if you are getting compensated for a service, meaning your job, there's always going to be a little bit of hardships and obstacles. But when it's constant stress, that may mean it's time to start looking for a new position. Something to think about. The last one I wanted to share with you is our 4 big areas to fix, because I've seen this over and over in my life and my client's life, is the evenings. This is where it starts to slide sideways and it can drain that energy again and even add more stress. Here's why. So if you're working late into the night, that's exposing you to more blue light, higher cortisol levels, more stress. If you are late night snacking, that's going to affect your energy and your sleep, and then your blood sugar most likely the next day. The next one is if you are drinking alcohol at dinner or after dinner, and it's within 3 to 4 hours of your sleep, it is most likely not allowing you to recover to feel well rested the next day. And then what happens? Well, we begin the cycle again. No energy, cravings the next morning, highs and lows in blood sugar, starting to gain inflammatory body fat from the alcohol or late night eating. So what we need to do is start to create our evening routines, and we'll talk about that now. All right, so the last part is this. How do we actually make a practical reset where we can create a sustainable life? The first one is this. Well, I want to start at the end. We need our evening routine because that's what helps the entire next day. So people always ask, well, like, how do I increase energy? How you increase energy never starts with the morning, ever. It always starts with the night before. So what I needed to do was get on a sleep schedule within a half hour of the same time every single night. If your bedtime, you want to be asleep at 10, or you want to get into bed at 10, that means your bedtime is within 9:30 to 10:30 each night. 10 is your median, your middle spot, right? So that's what we need to look at. So some nights you try to get to bed a little bit earlier, but never past 10:30. So your body knows circadian rhythm, this is sleep time, right? And then you wake up within a half hour the same time each morning. Could be between, if you go to bed at 10, could be between 5:30 and 6:30 in the morning. That would get you 8 hours, right? So 6 o'clock, 10 to 6, right? Okay, there's your 8 hours. Amazing. Now we need to stick to that. And that becomes part of your evening routine. The 3-2-1 formula that I've spoken about before, I can link it up here today on the podcast. But 3 hours before bed, stop eating. 2 hours before bed, no more water or teas or anything really like that. We want to start to limit the liquids so you don't have to wake up during the middle of the night. And then 1 hour before bed, no more screens, no more work, none of that. We can read a book, put on those blue light blocking glasses, you can journal, you can take a bath, you can do whatever you'd like, but that is now downtime to relax the body and the nervous system so that you can get a good night's sleep, which is the cornerstone of energy. And with energy, everything becomes easier. My life was miserable between 17 and 27 because I had no energy. I had Addison's disease, couldn't produce cortisol, could not produce energy, right? I was stressed, but no energy. Then I get back my energy. I overcome Addison's disease, which doctors said couldn't be done with primary Addison's disease. I did it, and here's what happened. I started to have energy. Lo and behold, I was able to do more with less stress. And it wasn't that I had less stress. I actually opened my first, fitness nutrition-based studio facility. That's definitely way more stress. Now I've got overhead each month, but I had my energy. That's what mattered. Okay, so what's up next? The morning. You got to win your morning, right? So you won your night before. That's even more important than you win your morning. You start the day with intention. What is my day going to look like? Where are the work zones? Where's the white space? How do I eat well? How do I recover during the day? And how do I do things for future energy, such as exercise? The next part is setting no more than 1 to 3 priorities. I can't show you this here today just because it has some private information on it. But basically, I have these cards on my desk. It is a like 5x7 card. I've linked this up on previous shows and Friday reviews, etc. And it has a total of 6 spots for the day, but it's only marked with a 1, 2, and 3. And that's because you never want to create really more than 3 priorities a day. It's just too much. There's only so much you can get done in a day that is not a recurring task. I don't need to write down my recurring tasks. If I have Monday meetings at a particular time, all I need to do is write in the things I don't typically do in the day because there's only so much time in the day. And there's only so much brain space you have. 1 to 3 priorities per day, not 20. The next one is this. I've already talked about the shutdown routine at night, the quiet time, the relaxation, that space, right? Especially a great time to work on growth and self-improvement. Read a good self-improvement based book, right? All right, the next one is this. Your weekends now are not there to recover from Monday to Friday or blow off all your steam. They're now, yes, absolutely use the weekends for rest, especially Sundays, but they're time to reflect, reset, and then prepare for your next week. Might be a good time to exercise, sauna, red light, do all your biohacking things, but it might also be for meal prep. It might be for things that now set you up for even greater success Monday through Friday. And this is how you begin to snowball then to a life that is intentional rather than somewhat irrational, and you're always trying to run from. So here's the thing. Most people don't need a vacation or a break. What they need is a better system for their life, better habits, and I know easier said than done, we're not going to do them all at once, and better alignment. I've found that the alignment comes from getting clear on what it is that you want in your life. Alignment came from me when my wife and I had our first child, and I said, this is your opportunity to make a change. You were working 6 or 7 days a week, right? You're working till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. It's not healthy for you, certainly not great to be that way if you don't have to, because again, I understand that some families have to work that late. I totally get that. And that's a noble thing. If that is what you need to do, it's what you need to do, and I get it. But I would also then use it from the framework for I'm doing this for my family. I wish I could be there right now, but my family needs me, and I'm grateful that I'm able to provide. I'm grateful that I'm able to do this. Fortunately, I was able to really shut things down, call it 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. And on the weekends, I made that a half a day on Saturday and gradually removed the weekends once my second daughter was born. So our job is not to be perfect, but to get crystal clear on what we want and then realize we're not perfect humans. We don't live a perfect life. We do our best. And we start to then work backwards. If health is a priority, which hopefully it is, you work on your sleep, you work on your nutrition, you work on your movement. Those are always going to be your big 3, right? And after that, you start to layer things in. You don't need to worry about red light and other individual modalities if you haven't dialed in the sleep, the nutrition, and the movement, right? You start with the big rocks and then you work down after that. So today I just wanted to touch on the big habits, but I'll tell you this. If you begin to journal out what you want your ideal life to look like, and then you begin to look at your calendar and your schedule, and you begin to remove the habits that are really holding you back first, then it leaves space to be able to add in that which you do want. Hopefully today's show was helpful. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. For all the show notes, for all the links, head on over to stephencabral.com/3727.